What's up, guys? Welcome in to a little Monday afternoon edition of the Slate. My name's Jeff Ulrich. As you know, I'm on this show quite a bit. Got Colin Sherwin with me today. We're definitely going to be talking golf because Colin's like me. He's a complete golf degenerate, so that's awesome. Obviously, the NFL news cycle is in fine flow, so we got some Deshaun Watson news breaking today. We're definitely going to touch on that too. Talk a little Browns odds and stuff like that. We'll touch on a bunch of stuff. And look, I mean, breaking news. It's not really breaking, happened like 4 hours ago. But Colin and I are just finding out about it now because that's just who we are. The Pga Tour has launched its schedule for next season. So, I mean, that's pretty cool, Colin. But have you looked over it? What are your thoughts? Anything?
So looks very similar to last year. Prize pools look to be up just a smidge across the board. Not seeing any non-crossover events like lower than 8 million looks like right now as I'm scanning. Except for Mexico Open maybe. But looks like all of the non-secondary events are going to be at least about $8 million next year, which is looking pretty good, as the tour just needs to keep up with their competition at this point. So I think that's interesting. Does look like travel wise they're gonna start in California and then go to Quail Hollow in Charlotte for the President's Cup, and then from there it looks like they're going to be reasonably put together for most of the year. Their Zozo Championship will be in Japan, which is where it was supposed to be previously, but end up getting moved to Vegas due to COVID. Looking otherwise, as I'm just like going through this here on the fly, the Hawaii California swing looks like exactly the same as it always has been. I think that's the one that most fans look forward to the most, where you're going from Hawaii to La Quinta to Torrey, my favorite course in the world, to Pebble, and then the Waste Management, where Jeff, you and I might be hitting up the Waste Management this year in Phoenix and going crazy on the 16th hole.
I mean, the fact that I go to Phoenix a lot and the fact that I've never actually been to this tournament is kind of sad. So I've kind of made it my goal for 2022, assuming Canada can get their airports in order, to make it down there for that season. And I mean, look, just so happens the Super Bowl is being played in Arizona this year. So it's going to be like the double, just that's always a great weekend. Just fantastic weekend for betting with the Super Bowl. Obviously on DraftKings as well with like the big Super Bowl contest. But then the Phoenix Open ending right into the Super Bowl. It's just a smorgasbord. I'm gonna have to leave my wife and kids at home for that one, probably. Somehow, some way, I will accomplish that goal.
And if you do want to hang out, the Tampa Bay Lightning, you're a two-time Stanley Cup champion, Tampa Bay Lightning, three-time finalist, five-time Stanley Cup finalists, and possible President's Cup winners this upcoming season. They are playing at the Arizona Coyotes on that Wednesday following the Super Bowl. So I'm going to go out there, and I'm also getting a little Lightning in, but they're playing, of course, the Coyotes got kicked out of their arena. So they're playing in a 6,600 seat college arena on campus at Arizona State next season. I just want to see it in person. I want to see what an NHL game looks like in a barn. This is going to be wild. Probably not since the Lightning played in Expo Hall, which is basically just a fairgrounds like shed that was a tent that they played their first season in. And then they moved to where the Tampa Bay Rays play now, and they were actually putting 27,000 people in for a playoff series against the Philadelphia Flyers many years ago. I've seen some weird hockey games before. I think seeing it in a college arena is going to be nuts. Tickets are not going to be cheap either when you only have 6,600 of them to sell.
It's going to be something. That is going to be interesting. It's such a, we won't talk about this for too long, but it's such a weird situation. That arena, the beautiful arena that Arizona, it's like 20 years, not even 20 years old, just going to be sitting there. They're going to be playing in a college arena. And it's so weird. I mean, the Coyotes, I don't even know how they're still in Arizona, all the things that franchise. Anyways. Yeah, that'll be a fun week, and the Coyotes are so we could do a whole show on the Arizona Coyotes. But I mean, this Pga Tour schedule, like you said, it does actually look quite a bit the same. I mean, we've got the the boosted invitationals and stuff like that, and I don't even know which ones they are at this point. Like which events are the boosted ones? I'm not sure if you remember off the top of your head. But
there are 5, so I know the Genesis.
Or 5? I can't remember.
I thought there were 5. So it's the Genesis, it's the Arnold Palmer, it's the Memorial, and then what are the other 2 that are coming to me? Is it RBC? I'm not sure. But yeah, they're boosting. So the Memorial goes to $20 million, which That's wild.
Yeah.
The Arnold Palmer goes to 20 million as well. The players will be $25 million. So that will be the first PGA Tour event that equals, any old regular live tour event on any single weekend. And you'll have to beat out 155 other players instead of 47 other players to take home the top prize. Yeah, it looks like they're trying to enhance these purses. Jay Monahan certainly has a tough road to hoe in front of him right now. It seems like this is a tough gig trying to keep players on board. And then how this continues to break, how professional golf continues to go one way or the other. I think we're going to have a really interesting offseason, that's for sure. Although the offseason in golf is now, about a month? Not even sometimes.
It's going to be, it's weird. Like, we're going to have events in the fall, but it's going to be a weird offseason because that there's going to be some live news dropping. For sure. Once the tour ends, and some guys they're going to get more allegiances. Some guys are either going to be committing to the PGA Tour, some guys are going to be leaving. Some of these guys might not even be, the guys who are leaving might not even be part of the PGA Tour. And that's a good segue into this week because Ricky Fowler is in the field for the Wyndham Championship. And what is Ricky's odds this week?
130 to 1 last I saw. It was 130 to 1 last I saw.
130 to 1. Unbelievable.
So, and he's 133 in the FedEx Cup standing. So he really needs to score this week. So he's going to need it. I guess that translates to at least a top 15, top 10 probably is what he's going to need to even have a shot. At least the top 10 at least. Yeah. And he'll need some breaks even with the top 10. Like, I think for him to really secure it, I think you need a top 5. Yeah. And that's wild. So, now the other question becomes the players 126 through 150, they're automatically entered into the Corn Ferry Tour playoffs. So they're going to be able to go compete with the top 75 guys I believe it's the next 50 guys. So the top 25 get their card, or I'm sorry, I forget the format, but I think it's 75 guys from the Corn Ferry and then 25 guys from the PGA Tour. They play just like the playoffs you would on the PGA Tour, except, and you have points and it's a point system and it scales down each week, but you're starting with less and there's only 25 tour cards available for those players. And it leans more towards those that have won on the Corn Ferry Tour definitely start ahead of those players on the PGA Tour who are coming in from a little bit behind. It's definitely the top 25 get the tour cards. There's 25 extra tour cards up. I can't remember either. I think you're right about the 50 players from the PGA. That sounds right. The one thing is, like, if you finish 150 to 125, you also get some conditional status, I'm pretty sure, going into next year. And then it's really, if you finish outside of the 150, it gets really dicey. Like, you're kind of playing Mondays. Yeah, you're basically in the Corn Ferry Tour. You basically just go back and restart, or you're just you're playing Mondays, like you said. So unless you got some name recognition, you get some sponsors exemptions. But so the 150 guys aren't dead. Like, if Ricky was going to stay on tour and he was like, he finished outside 125, he'll be fine. He'll get sponsors exemptions every week anyways, and he'll also just qualify based on like being 130th or wherever he finishes. So, but I think you and I are both in agreement. He might not even be here next year. So interesting player to watch this week. Could be his last PGA Tour event, like outside of the majors. Who knows? So, actually, even the majors, like, he doesn't. I don't think he is. I was going to say, I don't think he's exempt for anything. So yeah, he's done. I mean, oh man, what a wild career, man. That 2015 season of Ricky's, I'll never forget it. It was so good. Wow. The players, winning the Scottish, but man, just has not been able to put together since then. Let's go to the top of this event. I've kind of had a change of heart since this morning. Okay. I'm kind of in on Will Zalatoris. I don't know if I'm not going to bet him right now, but this is a player who I think he might actually be able to get it done this week. And here's my theory. We're going to get a soft course. His ball striking is just, this, you love Will Zalatoris, so I'm speaking to the choir. I think this is a place where he could just come in here and gain like 9 strokes with his irons. And he may, and like, if he just has a positive week putting, like 2-3 strokes, I think that might be enough. I think Zalatoris is definitely the guy I want to target after thinking things through this morning. I'm not touching Webb Simpson at plus 2,000. I know he owns this course, but he's just not playing that well. Horschel, get out of here. He's been better, but I don't know if I necessarily want to take him over Zalatoris right now. And then Lowry, I think he's just here for a warm up. So give me Zalatoris here among the top plays. I really like him for DFS too. Switch over to the fantasy side a bit. I don't think anyone's going to play him there at 10-9. So that's something else to consider. I really like that as a contrarian move to build lineups around. But what do you think? What's your strategy with Zalatoris? I know I don't have to talk you into him. So Look, I think he's the most talented guy out there. I think he, if he can just roll the ball just a smidge, like he's going to gain so many shots off the tee and in the fairway that it's just going to make up for so many mistakes that like other guys are going to make out there. Incredible ball striker. The thing is that can he tuck it in? He's going to need to be putting from inside 10 feet to have any chance to make these. Cause if he's at 15 and 20, that's where he just does not make anything. And that's where he gets really in trouble. So if he's able to throw darts on a soft course, and this is a very soft course, he should be in good shape. The weather, like you said, the more the ball's going to spin, the better for him. If you can get a little late morning mist rain on Thursday, we'll get tee times tomorrow. But let's say he's got like a Thursday morning tee time, right about 7:30 in the morning. You get a little rain the night before, a little mist, a little dew on those grass. Give me Will Zalatoris first round for sure. He can absolutely go out there and throw some darts and just put up a number in low 60s. We're talking 61, 62 type of number. I believe who won it 2 years ago with a 62 on Sunday here.
Yeah, it was Poston.
Yeah, JT Poston.
Yeah. Or no, it was both Poston and Herman. I think Herman shot 63, but Poston went lower. He went 62, I'm pretty sure. So both those guys won with really low. Herman shot like 61, 63 over the weekend, the year he won. Like, my God. And like you said, the conditions this year, last year, the winners got to 15 under, but there were storms. I think there were stoppages. This year looks pristine. It's like you said, I think it's even supposed to rain a little bit in the evenings. So the guys are going to get up and they're just going to be throwing darts. I think you'll see like 23 under here this year, potentially a guy threatened for 59. So, and I think Zalatoris could just go nuclear with his irons and just, again. So yeah, I'm in on Will Z. Like I said, really like him for DFS for those builds. If I'm betting him, I'm probably going to wait and see, hope he's like 4 strokes back after the second round. Maybe we can get a little better number and he's in there. Even if we get 1,200 and he's 4 back, I'll take that, but I'm probably going to bet him in play. So anyways,
I'll probably go counter. I'll probably go first round winner. Yep. Depending on tee time. You don't want anybody afternoon tee times generally on the PGA Tour. You don't want an afternoon tee time for a first round winner. So you got to wait till Tuesday until those tee times come out. Yeah. But assuming he gets a morning tee time, I'm going to give him early morning. I'm going to give him first round winner and then either hope he wins it or goes the other way and doesn't play as well. And then we'll try and get back in on him on Friday and Saturday. The other guy you talk about Webb Simpson. The thing to remember with Simpson, 126 right now, got to make a cut. 100% has to make the cut to give himself a chance. And then from there, it's just about how far up the board does he need to go to keep that card. So, really super interesting spot here. I think he's definitely a cut guy. I feel like top 20 is going to be better than top 10. I'm not seeing anything outside top 10 right now on DK. Oh, excuse me. Oh, yeah, here it is. I see it. I just pulled it. Look at that. Webb Simpson -110 to be a top 20 this week. Feels pretty good, honestly. I just feel like he's going to be able to go out. He's not playing his best golf, but like when you got to have it, you got to have it. Yeah, and he's in the ultimate got to have it spot.
I mean, his course history at Wyndham it's absurd. I mean, there's a lot of guys with absurd course history. That's the other thing. Like, you really shouldn't. I mean, I'm not going to play Simpson over Zalatoris because he's 10-7 for DFS, but for betting, like the -110 number looks bad for a guy who's missed like 4 cuts and it has like a T69 from last week. But Webb has come to the Wyndham in similar form, and he just destroys this course. Like it's like playing in his sleep. So top 20, I'd be down for it. I mean, I don't even remember the last time Webb Simpson finished outside the top 20 of this course. It was like over 7 years ago. So definitely a course, you just don't get more course history than Webb Simpson here, more positive course history. So yeah, definitely player. I mean, for cuts and bets like that, again, I think for DFS, just because he's so priced up, it's going to be interesting to see what ownership projections have in that. But, certainly a player who, again, I would rather go all the way up to Zalatoris, let other people make the balance builds with guys like Siwoo, Kisner. They're going to be popular this week. And again, for good reason. Right. Like, I'm not saying you have to fade all of them either, but yeah. So that's kind of like the top of the board. I think where we're more interested in kind of getting in pre-event is obviously guys underneath this for outrights. I will 100% be betting my guy Russell Henley because that's what I do. I like to get hurt. But his first and strokes gain approach and long-term and short-term form, he absolutely just eats up these courses. With Russ, it's just, can he just avoid the 3 putts on Sunday and just like stop missing 3-foot putts? He'll win. He would have won last year if he had done it. He probably would have won, at the Sony Open if he could have done it. It'll happen eventually, because eventually those putts will drop. He's just so good with his short to mid irons that this course, he's gonna I just feel very solid to say that he's probably going to be in contention. There's just no better setup, really. Maybe other than the Sony Open for Russell Henley. So
you and I are in that same group where we're looking at guys who may not putt it very well, but can drive it and dunk it and dunk it off from off the green. We were both in on Bryson DeChambeau at the Live last week. We both thought that was the play. And you know what? On ball striking, we were absolutely right. It's just that guy can't roll in anything right now. He just can't make a putt. So I think in the long run, if you're going with ball strikers, if you're going with guys who can hit irons and get it close and tuck it in and take some shots at some flags, you're going to be a better bettor in the long run than if you're just betting on guys who are going to be hot with the putter, at one time. So you're going to get some consistency. You just got to hope that they can find the right speed, find the stimp, and figure out a way to get it done. So you're going to be better off with guys that are good off the tee than good on the green, usually. I think this week, it's going to turn into a putting contest, but who's going to have shorter putts is going to be a huge problem too. So, and I think that's where Will Zalatoris is going to be one of those guys that can absolutely do it.
Yeah. So I mean, Henley again, very much like the Zalatoris mold. I mean,
yeah,
he, again, almost more so in a way, just because of how specifically good he is with those short irons. But two guys in Zalatoris and Henley, they could just go so nuclear with their irons that it just doesn't matter. Going down now, like this is really the range, like after Henley, where I think you've got to make some decisions. Like you've kind of got to side with guys, because there's a lot of similar players. Like even going down to Kisner, obviously Siwoo is there. I'm not going to touch Pendrith. This just isn't a Bombers course. I know he's playing well in like all facets right now, but I'm not going back to that.
Didn't play great on
Daryl
Sunday.
Hatton's in the field. I got to cut my eyes on a couple guys, but I mean, give me your rundown of this range. Like, is there someone you got a favorite, or is this just kind of like you might take a couple pot shots, or who would you recommend? I mean,
so I really tried to make the case for Kisner this morning, and I really couldn't figure out a way to do it. So I was thinking he would be in a good spot. He's the kind of player who sets up off this course, but his form right now is just not anywhere near good enough where he's going to be a guy that you would want to be betting. So I of course deleted all of my brilliance from this morning and all my brilliant research, because that's what you do, is you do all this hard work and then you don't keep receipts. So but I just couldn't find a case for Kisner, and I was really looking for one as well. So with Pendrith, he didn't play great on Sunday. Definitely a guy that maybe if you're going to mix him in, he's a top 10, top 20 type player, but I don't think is even outright at plus 4,000 just doesn't feel real good right now. I need to see a guy break through. I need to see a Tony Finau break through. I need to see a Will Zalatoris breakthrough, quite honestly. I think he's finally going to be able to get closer to getting it done. Justin Rose, intriguing on some level. Hasn't played particularly well as of late, but has the game where he can just sort of step up at any point. And he's a guy who can roll a little bit too. So I wouldn't hate it. I'm going to try and make the case for it right now. Definitely a plus putter, that's for sure. And
yeah,
53 in data golf right now. So like maybe he's the guy that you can take a look at. Especially
worth it. I mean, look, it was basically a month ago. Well, actually, it was like 2 months ago. It was basically 2 months ago. The guy shot a 60 in the final round of the Canadian Open, right?
And what we've seen, and bogeyed 18 to do it.
That's right. I mean, he's actually on track for like a 58 for a long time there.
Yeah.
What we've seen from Justin Rose is he has come to some of these shorter courses, like lately, like the last couple of years of his career, and he's kind of ramped it up and like posted top tens. I mean, the RBC Canadian, again, it doesn't have like a ton of similarities with Sedgefield, but there's some. I mean, the fairways are tighter, like driving accuracy matters a little bit more than power. So it's certainly a course, like if he can go low in Canada, he could certainly go low at Sedgefield. So yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that's someone like people should have some interest in. I mean, Justin Rose is still, he's on the prime of his career, but he's also, he's like Adam Scott. Like he's still really good. Like he's better. Yeah. He's probably better than like a lot of the players in his range. He just, he's a little bit more volatile now that he's a veteran. So I like it. I think that's kind of a guy I would be targeting that range. I don't have like a strong take on like Harmon or Kisner or Poston, but Rose is a guy I could like. I like him over kind of all those guys. So the other player in that range I really like though is Aaron Wise, just
Okay.
because I think in a way we're almost getting like Will Zalatoris at a bigger odds. Maybe he's not the ball striker Zalatoris is, but his the rest of his game is more nuanced. So you take away a little ball striking, you add better putting, probably higher end putting, and that's kind of, you kind of get Aaron Wise. Like so I'm perfectly fine taking him. He's been really close a couple times. Fantastic at Memorial. Only got beat by just like an insane week around the greens by Billy Horschel, right?
Right.
So I think Wise is very bettable at that number. And I might take a shot with Denny McCarthy again. I probably will, just because I got sucked in last week, and I feel like if he wins this week, I won't. I'll be looking for a freeway or something. But I think McCarthy is he just sets up so well. He's like poor man's Webb Simpson, right? He gets hot with his irons and he can sink a million putts. He's got a really good course history too. He's never missed a cut here in 4 attempts. Top 15s the last 2 times he's played. He shot 63 here in 2020, excuse me. So McCarthy is a guy I'll go to bat with. I'll probably look for a better number than that. But Wise, McCarthy guys I'm interested in. And I think Rose might even like finish out my range there. I don't mind dipping in that range. I think that's solid range. I don't have a ton of like hot takes about guys above them. And I might just bet 4 guys in that range and just kind of be done with it and then look for some in-play stuff.
So for Wise, plus 1.5 strokes gained on the approach this year, which means he's probably ball striking as well as anyone. Doesn't really putt it super great, just 0.2 strokes gains on putting. So I think it might be a spot where you're leaning towards a guy. If you like Zalatoris, maybe Wise is a nice backup play, and as somebody else that you could fire into your lineup as well. So yeah, I think this is an interesting week. I'm almost interested to see how, and Jeff, what do you think here? What do you think about how the guys that are on the bubble will play? Do you play more conservatively? Do you just fire into the middle of the greens and try and make some putts and just make a cut? Are you trying to go low? What do you think you need to do? I think the strategy, the meta level strategy that goes into this is something that's definitely exploitable for bettors this week. So what are your thoughts on the guys that are between, let's say, like 110 and 135, somewhere in that range on the FedEx Points Tour or the FedEx Point Spots? And how do you think that will affect what's happening this week and how you would want to bet this week?
Yeah, it's always something like this event. I always forget, like, it's like, oh yeah, it's another birdie fest. But then you get to it and you're like, oh yeah, we need to look at what these guys are doing here. Right. I think there's a lot of players where, again, like, I don't know how many of these players I want to take like outright shots on, because, and you made a great point this morning, you get to Sunday and your card is on the line and yeah, you're in contention. Your mind is just, it's thinking, we lock this up. Like, winning would be great. It would be fantastic. You have to lock this up, pal. Like, this is our livelihood. So I don't know how many of these guys I want to bet. Like, and quite frankly, I mean, some of these guys aren't good. That's why they're down here. But there are interesting names. Like John Huh is a guy I'm actually interested in for this course. Tyler Duncan too. Those guys are 120 and 122. They both been playing well like recently. I don't mind taking top 20, top 40 shots on those guys. I think they're both really good top 40 bets, Duncan and John Huh. And I think those are the markets where I would be looking for those guys, because again, yeah, there's pressure, but if you've been playing well and you come to this course where it sets up good for you, there's Duncan at plus 170. I really don't mind that at all. I'm going to have to do a little bit more research before I commit to that, but that's fine. If you're getting bigger plus money there, I don't know, or who's even better at plus 200. He might even be playing better than Duncan. So again, I like that strategy. These guys make the cut. They're going to be free. They're going to be playing focused on the weekend. This isn't going to be a situation where, they start off plus 5 and just dial it in. They're going to be grinding. So I like targeting guys like that for bets like this week. I'm definitely going to be looking for a couple of these guys and taking, like, quite frankly, like, a few more units than usual, I think, on some of them, because you just don't get setups like this where it's that important. So, again, just looking right now, obviously Webb Simpson, we already mentioned, he's at 126. He's got to make that cut. Patton Kazire is on the bubble. Lucas Glover's at 128. Glover hasn't made a cut in like 6 straight events, but that's only boosting his number. Chesson Hadley's at 131.
And that's where I was actually digging right now on Hadley and what he would need to do to get over the hump. So he is at 131 right now. And as of late performance, statistically, maybe not a guy who should should be able to keep his card, quite honestly. Hasn't played real well. Looks like he missed 8 straight cuts at some point this season. 9 straight cuts, excuse me. 9 straight cuts from October to February. But then 10th at the 3M Open. Had a top 10 at the crossover event, 5th at the Travelers. So like he's definitely playing better and in form. Is this, even though he did miss the cut last week in Detroit, is this a guy that, you know, can go out there and knows that he needs to probably post a top 20, top 30, somewhere in that range to even have a chance? Is he going to fire at a few more flags than he normally would and give himself a chance to go super low and get into that top 20? Is he a good top 20 bet?
Do you remember what Hadley did at this event last season?
I believe he did pretty well.
Yeah, he made a hole-in-one in his final round, and he ended up going from I think he went from 134 to 125. He was the bubble boy.
Wow.
But he was the good bubble boy. Yeah.
I missed that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's done it before. He's basically in the exact same position as he was last year. Yeah, you know, the funny part about Hadley too is he made a bogey at the 3M on his final hole from 90 yards in the fairway. And then he missed the cut last week. Like he could have this locked up with not locked up, but he could be in lot better position. So he's kind of put himself there, but yeah, look, he came to this event last season and did it. I'm not sure if he's playing well enough this year. Worries me a little bit, but yeah, I mean, another player on the bubble. I know I kind of made a case for Kelly Kraft this morning too. Again, all these guys are kind of just in a similar pile. They're very inconsistent, but Kraft gained strokes on approach now in 4 straight starts. His putter's been really hot in stretches. And I just think the setup is good for Kraft. I mean, he doesn't hit it far at all. He hits 280, but putting and iron play, I mean, that's what you need to do here. So that's kind of that's another one, another player. We got 5 minutes left. Is there any finishing thoughts on the golf? Because we should hit up the NFL bets here quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
Going to yell at me.
Yeah, I think this week you got to sort of keep an eye on 2 things. If you're going to be doing some live betting or getting some bets in, you want to, well, first of all, wait for the tee times. Wait till see where these guys are going to be playing on Thursday and Friday, because that's going to be important with the weather. But then the other thing is keep an eye on where these guys are on the board, what they need to do, who's where, who's up, who's down. You know, and also keep in mind some of these guys between 115 and 135. You know, if you're top 50 all time in money, no matter what, you got your card. So even if you're in the 130s, you know, a Stuart Sink, I think might qualify in that category. He might be a top 50 guy all time. So even if he missed this week at age 49, I still think he keeps his card just on career money. So keep an eye on the guys who are actually on the bubble, because remember, some of them have other ways to be exempt into the tour as well. If you've won in the last 2 years, you know, you don't really have to sweat this weekend. It's the guys who haven't won, who don't have another way to keep their card, and then how they play the course, I think will be really interesting this weekend. Yeah,
I think it's a great call on Sink. That is just a player who, I mean, he would obviously prefer, and he wants to make the playoffs too, right? He's competitive, but you know, it's not the same kind of pressure. So I think Sink is still a good target for that reason. But these other guys, you know, you'll see some players do some crazy stuff on Sunday. You'll see some 64s, and some guys will just step up. You know, it happens every year. It's impressive to watch too, because these guys do. It's a lot on the line, and you know, things tend to get, you know, they straggle throughout the year, but a lot of these guys will pick it up when it matters. So quickly, Deshaun Watson news: only suspended for 6 games. You got any, you know, pertinent thoughts on the Browns here? They've moved down to plus 230 to win the division, really close to the Bengals, which I kind of find interesting, and plus 2,500 to win the Super Bowl. Colin, are you all in? What's your thoughts?
I think the media heat is going to be so extreme on him this year. How can he walk into a restaurant and not just feel the constant what is going to be on his shoulder all year long? You know, athletes can say about blocking it out. No, I don't read the media and all that. Guess what? Spoiler alert. I was a sports information director. They read all of it. They read every single word and they lie about it later. You know, there's going to be continuing trials with Deshaun Watson. I don't see how you can possibly, you know, after 6 weeks, and he will be away from the team will be, you know, and it's actually probably good for him that he won't be there and having to answer questions until week 7. But then come week 7, you know, this is going to be a whole different kettle of fish. And I think this is just, for me, the Browns are just a complete stay away. Just their talent, or is there talent there? Absolutely. I mean, they can play, but to be able to put the blinders on and block everything else out, I think it's just asking too much this season.
I'm on your side. I mean, I think that again, and like the odds aren't what they were. I mean, like the time to take a shot with the Browns or when they were plus 400
for sure.
Maybe I think they were actually plus 5,000 to win the Super Bowl. I actually think that's what their odds were. I can't remember.
So they got cut in half today? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not taking them at basically the same odds as the Bengals. There's no chance.
Not at all.
I think Watson being back is actually going to help teams like the Bengals in that division this year, because it's like you said, that's where the attention's going to be, right? Yeah. Like it just, it's just less attention on Bengals, and they can just go about their business. The NFL it's just one big media storm after the other. So I agree. I think the Browns are a talented team, but like 2023, maybe let's hope they miss the playoffs this year, and then we can get them at a good number next year. That's kind of where I would be looking. They also have a really interesting schedule. Very easy to start, but the second Deshaun Watson comes back, it's like murderer's row. And you're asking a guy to go from 0 to 150 here. That's tough, man. So I'm with you. It's intriguing. They're an intriguing team. I can't do it this year. There's way better values out there. So, that's where they're sitting. If you are interested, I think for fantasy purposes is really where you want to be targeting the Browns on your fantasy teams. Like get some Donovan Peoples-Jones in your life, guys. I mean, he's the deep threat. Watson's going to be back. He can maybe save you for the playoffs. David Njoku, a great value tight end, and even Amari Cooper, still ADP is down there. So I'd be looking at the Browns in fantasy, not so much to be betting on them. But that's just our take. We're wrong about we're no more Bryson this week to talk about, so we can't be wrong about that.
Were we wrong about that?
But opportunities. Like I'm going to bet Bryson the next live event.
Yeah, for sure.
He hit it like you said.
But ball striking was there, just couldn't make a putt, and eventually he'll figure out how to put the golf ball again. You talk about NFL and like betting strategies and things going into this. I was looking at a couple of teams this morning, and one was the Miami Dolphins. So I don't know if you've seen the Dolphins schedule, but the first 4 weeks, impossible. So let me get this right, because the Dolphins, with Tyreek Hill, certainly intriguing. I'm a Tua guy. I think Tua definitely has something. I still think he's going to turn the ball over no matter what level of football he's playing. That's just naturally what he's going to do. But right now, the first 4 games for the Dolphins this year are Patriots, Ravens, Bills, Bengals. So he'll get the Jets till week 5. So maybe this is a team that you want to fade early and maybe start jumping on right about week 5. And then maybe, for win totals and things like that, if you can get those numbers down a little bit, I think they'll settle in nicely. I think they've got extreme explosiveness on the outside. And whether Tua can get them the ball consistently, then I'm not sure. They look pretty good defensively as well. But yeah, so the way the schedule lines up, I think is a huge factor that people aren't necessarily looking into. And then of course, when you're doing that, you're also having to fade injuries as well. So something else to keep in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And rookie head coach. I mean, I like Mike McDaniel, but it's all, starting slow wouldn't be a shock, right? Especially working in a new guy, new head coach and Tyreek Hill. So I agree. I mean, you got to look at the schedule, and how teams are going to start. So great points as always, guys. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We're going to be back with the Sweat on DK Live tomorrow morning. Check us out, 11 a.m. Eastern there. Be back with the Slate tomorrow. I'm not sure who's on tomorrow. I think it's not. I don't know who's on. We'll be back with the Slate tomorrow. Definitely more NFL talk because the NFL news cycle is in effect. I'm sure we'll touch on PGA if I'm on, and potentially some baseball guys as well. But Slate tomorrow.
Jeff, we're all forgetting the best sport. I mean, I know up there in Canada, you guys, whatever you were there, 180-yard field or whatever the hell it is, but like down here, college football camps. We got kids hitting each other with pads. Mostly like most teams are doing. It's just like the true freshmen and the transfers. They make them walk through the first 2 days, and then bring everybody else on campus. It's the best time of the year. I can smell the tailgate food already. This is going to be one hell of a college football season. I can't wait. Look for some look at Kentucky. Kentucky's going to win 10 games, you guys. I'm telling you, it's really going to happen. Kansas might win 4 games, and if they do, Lance Leipold should be the coach of the year. They might win 4 games this year. They're actually going to be good. There are some teams out there on the board. There's some value to be found. Start looking at college football. keep an eye on injuries, keep an eye on who's going, because there's more value in college football than there ever is going to be in the NFL. Promise you.
There you go. College football guy. I mean, again, that's one of those things I just don't have time for, but I love just watching it. Like I'll just watch again. It's one of like the rare sports I just watch these days. But right now we got to go because Madden's coming up. Madden versus San Francisco. Get your Madden stuff in. Lock your lineups in. Guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Again, Sweat, 11 a.m. Eastern. Slate back, 5 p.m. Eastern. See you.